guys, welcome back. We're going to do the next 5 games on video number 2 here, part 2. We're going to be talking about the Space Invaders, the Galaga. We'll even talk about the Banana. Zaxxon, this Atari, and this Fisherman's Bait. Now, I do have a cordless microphone. I have not tried it out yet, still in the box. I need to charge it, I think, I'm sure it's probably not charged. But I'm gonna give this a whirl here in the next video or two. So I'm gonna try to just talk a little louder on this video, and then I will try this off camera and make sure it works. I get a little nervous of this because if this thing stops working, then I'm gonna have to edit a video, which I normally don't do. And I'm gonna have to do like a voiceover because that obviously won't record what I was saying if it doesn't work. So I'll have to give it a go and see if we can make it work. Now, we're going to talk about these 5 games. Journey's going to turn on and off, so it'll play the theme music every so often, so that might be, she'll only do it a couple times. Stargate's down here. I don't know if last video if it was down here or not, but it is down here. This is going to go in this area over here. So basically I have Sinistar, Bubbles, Moon Patrol, Joust, Robotron, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave Pac-Man there, and I think I'm going to put Stargate right here, and maybe I'll move Q*bert somewhere else. Not sure yet. Jurassic Park's still sitting like that, still no time. Been super busy still, doing a million different things, but let's go ahead and start our first game we're going to talk about, which is going to be Space Invaders. Now, Space Invaders, I bought this game just as it looks. I didn't do a thing to this other than fix the power supply. When I bought this game, I paid $150 for it. I drove about an hour and a half to get it towards Southern Ohio. Somebody had this, they did like a bunch of auctioning and stuff, so they had like this big barn where they sold a bunch of just everything, and this was in there and it wasn't working, and so I got it for $150. I got it home and I happened to have another power supply from a Space Invaders cocktail, so I ended up keeping the original power supply in this, but I harvested some parts off of that one. So basically I took 2 broken power supplies and was able to get this one up and running. And then there was an edge connector problem, which I fixed that as well. And then I put the High Score Saver kit in here. So it has a High Score Saver kit and it has like 10 different games on it. They're just weird games. That's just how it comes. I could show it to you real quick. But as far as the cabinet, the outside's a little beat up. You know, it's, what is this, 81, 79, 81, something like that. But it's not horrible. I never touched it, never did any restoration to it. This is probably one of the cleanest original cabinets on the inside I have ever seen. Let me grab a key here. I think I got one on top of the Zaxxon. No, I got to hunt for a key here so we can open it up. And I want to see if I can show you the inside of it. I don't have a light with me, but I mean, this thing is clean for what it is. But yeah, it's going to be hard to see in here. I don't have a light right now, but at some point maybe I'll open the back up and show it to you. But so let me show you what games came on that multi-kit. Put it on a tripod here. So, do you hit player 1 and player 2 at the same time? Yes. Okay, so you have Space Invaders, Space Invaders Deluxe, Lunar Rescue, Balloon Bomber, I don't know how to say that is, Jetire, I don't know, Space Laser, Galaxy Wars, and Super Earth Invasion. Now, when you turn this game off and on for some reason, it keeps going back to regular Space Invaders. I like to usually have it set on Space Invaders Deluxe. I'll have to get into there and see if I got to get into the menu. I don't know if you can right now or not. Let me see here. Move left and right for the selection. press fire to select. You know what? Maybe it is on Space Invaders Deluxe. I don't remember. But anyways, original monitor, I did nothing to the monitor. I took it apart and cleaned it. Everything was filthy. There's some scratches in the bezel, you know, but I can't really beat it for $150. So that's Space Invaders, and that's what I have into that. I never even changed the T-molding. I just left it. You know, it's an original. There's nothing wrong with it. So then next to it we have Galaga. This came from the Youngstown, Ohio area. Now this game, when I got it, was not working. The guy who had it was an older gentleman and an older wife, and it was in their basement, and me and my son had to get it out of the basement. The staircase couldn't have been more than 30 inches wide. This thing barely is fitting up the staircase. We didn't have a dolly with us because this just had popped up on Facebook Marketplace when we were at work, and I went and grabbed it on the way home. I paid $100 for it. I was the first one to respond to the ad, and there was a ton of people. And then the lady's like, well, is this thing worth a lot more money than what you're giving me? And I said, yes, if it's working, but it wasn't working. One of his buddies tried to fix the board, screwed up some sockets and some chips, and just messed it all up. So the guy gave this guy a bootleg board and tried to put the bootleg board in there, and that didn't work because it had a different wiring harness than what the original wiring harness was. So it was kind of a mess inside. Cabinet was beat up. So I gave him $100 for it. Me and my son, it took everything out of us to get this thing up the steps. And as soon as you got to the top of the steps, no further than 3 foot from the last step was a wall. So not only do we have to carry this up the steps, but we physically had to stand this thing up, not scratch their hardwood flooring, get it spun around so we can lay it back down and get it out the front door. So that was a real fun one there. So we ended up getting it. We put it in the van. We're heading home down Route 11, coming towards my house, heading east towards Lake Erie. And all of a sudden, this car goes flying past us. We're in our work van. This car goes flying past us. And then after that, hold on one second. So after that, just one cop car after the next just keeps pulling next to us, in front of us, behind us. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And this car had slowed down at this point. And now there's like 6 cop cars. All of a sudden, all these cop cars, they come around from behind me, they go around this lady on all 4 sides of her and just stop Route 11 freeway to a dead halt. We are the first ones in line. She's pulled over and all the cop cars are surrounded. They had this lady out of her car, laying on her stomach at gunpoint. And me and my son are literally like front row seats sitting in our van, just watching this whole thing happen, thinking like, man, you know, if they start shooting or something like that, we have a good possibility of getting shot or ducking or hopefully, you know, staying out of the line of fire. It was just crazy. So anyways, ended up getting it home. I stripped it completely down. It was pretty musty and mildewy inside, so I cleaned it all up. I repainted it with automotive paint, did the body work, fixed any of the imperfections. This is an MDF cabinet, so it likes to swell up. It's kind of like the cabinets that they made the Trons out of, same material. So I cleaned it all up, everything, you know, redid the coin door, new artwork, control panel overlays, obviously new, it was all messed up. This is the original screen bezel that came with it. This is the original marquee that was in it. Those were both in good shape, left them alone. As far as the circuit board, I kept messing with it and messing with it. This is probably one of the first circuit boards I ever really started fixing and learning how to start fixing little things here and there. And I just kept messing with it, and I ended up getting this to work. There were some bad traces on one of the chips, and then it worked fine. And then every once in a while, you'd be playing it, and the screen would flip upside down, like cocktail mode, out of nowhere. So then it quit doing that. And then one day, it just quit working altogether. And this is when I was doing the basement remodel, just right before the holidays. And I sent it off to Starship Enterprise, I think it is the name of the company. He fixed it for me, relatively cheap, had it back to me in like a week or two. It's been good ever since. So running original board, I do have a switcher power supply in here. The original power supply is in the cabinet, but it's not hooked up. There's an actual 2 extra board sets sitting in the bottom of this cabinet as well. That's what it was. So my original board, I got it working, but I couldn't get the sound to work. Well, I had went to my buddies who owns Playport. He actually happened to have another one of these boards laying around. He's like, I know nothing about it. I don't know if it works. So I ended up taking the soundboard off of that one, putting it on my main board, and I got the game to work. And then I had just recently had it repaired. But there's 2 sets of boards sitting in the bottom of this cabinet still. So I probably should at some point either me look at them, see if I can't fix them, or send them out and get them fixed and just have them for spares or whatever. But that's pretty much it. Once again, there's a high score saver on this. Nobody's put a high score on it since it came back from repair. But that's about it with that one. There's a couple 3D printouts that my buddy David did of some of the characters from the game. So I have those mounted up there. I just did a little L bracket, 1 little screw on each one just to hold it to the top of the cabinet. So that's where we are with the Galaga. And then this banana guy here is an actual wood carving. It was part of a tree. Obviously, it was a bottom of a tree. You can see the base of it. It's cracked, and I think it's cracked just from being down in the basement over time, over years. But we had bought this. We had a guy, we called him Banana Bob. He lived locally. He used to do chainsaw carvings. He moved away to a different state. I'm sure he's still doing chainsaw carvings, but he chainsaw carved this for us. I think he charged us $400, and it was plain wood because we didn't want him to paint it because this is all black light reflective paint, so it glows in the dark when the black lights are on. It's just a kind of a cool piece. He's flashing you with his banana peel. So next to that we have Galaxian, and this game was another, I want to say $140 purchase, I think it was. Once again, this game was not working when I got it. Monitor worked. Game itself was not working. Circuit board was fine. Well, no, it wasn't fine. I ended up getting it working. There was bad fuses in it. So I ended up screwing around with fuse holders, changing the fuse holders, fixing some wires, got the game to work. But the sounds were all off and not working right. So I ended up doing a sound cap kit on the sound part of the board. That corrected that issue. I have one more issue with this, sporadic, not very often does it happen, but every once in a while one of the colors will go out, and I think it was blue maybe that goes out, so I need to check that on the monitor itself. It's been fine lately, but that's not going to say that's never going to happen. So this cabinet, I did nothing with the sides. It's original artwork, original T-molding, front's all original. I cleaned up the coin mechanisms. I put a new control panel overlay on it, original buttons, original joystick. I cleaned the joystick up and repainted the metal because it was all the paint was worn off. This is just the original plexi that came with it, and same thing with the marquee. It's all original. This has a free play kit on it as well, and it's been working great. Other than that, every now and then the blue going out on it. Once again, not much was ever done to this. Obviously, I changed the locks and stuff like that. But I didn't want to mess with the cabinet itself because it was wood grain. It is a little beat up, but it's a cheap game. These don't sell for a lot of money. I didn't want to put a lot of money into it. I remember playing this on the Commodore 64 as a kid, and used to play it quite a bit. Really haven't had a ton of time to play this, to actually sit down and really play it. It's a hard game. I think it is, at least. But it is a fully functional game, running all original hardware, power supply, everything, even the monitor is original. It's one of those weird monitors, I forget the name of it. Yeah, I can't think of the name of it right now. But pretty much that's Zaxxon. Next to that, we have 2 home-built cabinets. One of them has original hardware, one of them does not. Okay, this first one here is the Atari cabinet, and I I always wanted to have some Atari games down here because I played a lot of Atari 2600 as a kid. And I didn't want to have a console down here with remotes and all that stuff. So I came up with the idea. I had this little slim cabinet that I had built a long time ago, and I had some other game in it. I don't remember what was in it. But anyways, I had built this little slim cabinet just to kind of fill in somewhere. So I just had this cabinet sitting there and it was empty. And I came up with the idea. I was like, hey, why don't we print up some artwork so that it looks like the top of the Atari 2600 console, and we'll put wood here, kind of the front face of them. Some of them had wood, some of them were all black. And then we just made a screen bezel and a marquee up there. And then this is just running a 15-inch flat screen computer monitor. And then inside what's running the games is a Raspberry Pi. My buddy David, who does the 3D printing, he had did the Pi and the menu and all that, and I'll show you that and show you how it works. He 3D printed that Atari sign up there. And there's actually supposed to be these parts that go up above it that I accidentally broke when I was doing a basement remodel. So I got to figure out how I'm going to reattach these. So I'm gonna have to glue them back on there, but that's how those go. So I need to get those fixed. That's another piece of it. I want to get that fixed up so it's back together. So basically what I did with this is he made me the Pi, I had the cabinet, I came up with the artwork and everything, and we just kind of, he brought the parts over, put them in. So basically, if you want to go to the menu, this is kind of like I did with the Dragon's Lair cabinet, the Space Ace cabinet, where you hit the coin door button, return on it. I forget which side it is. I don't know if it's this side, it's this side. Okay, so you hit that, and then it brings you up on this menu here. Okay, so this menu has the games that are loaded on here, and then obviously it gives you a little feature of what game's on what. So it has Frogger, Gorf, Jungle Hunt, which a lot of these games, when we did this, I didn't even have some of these games yet. I think I had Frogger, I didn't have Gorf, I didn't have Jungle Hunt. Pac-Man I obviously had. I had to put on the games that were pretty, the most popular games that I played as a kid. It's just funny seeing like Pac-Man and stuff, how it actually looked on the Atari 2600, because I am so used to the arcade version that this looks nothing like it. But that's what we played as a kid because that's all we had. And, you know, we played it a few times here and there at the arcade, but I guess back then you didn't really, I guess you didn't really think of it. You know what I mean? You didn't really think that there was a difference, I guess. At least I did. But anyways, I played a lot of weird games on here as well. We played a lot of Plaque Attack, so I made sure I put that on there. I remember playing Pole Position on here. I remember that quite well. Popeye we occasionally played on here. Sequest, we played a lot of Sequest for some reason. That's a really fun game. Tennis, I remember playing tennis. Wizard of War, never played it on here, but it's so funny how it looks on here compared to the real one. It's actually not too terribly off from the original. Let's see what else. Asteroids, I never really played it much as a kid. We did have it, I just didn't play it much. Berserk, never played it on the Atari as a kid, but we put it on here. I'd like to get an original Berserk maybe one day. We'll see what happens. Bowling, I remember playing bowling on here. Circus Attack, I never played. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Carnival, which is a game that I have that I need to restore still. Donkey Kong, played that. I suck at Donkey Kong. I suck at any version of Donkey Kong. E.T., that's just on here because it's funny, because the game sucks so bad. So basically that's it. There's Frogger. We're back to Frogger. So you just pick a game that you want to play. Let's go to Plaque Attack. So we want to play Plaque Attack, and then we hit this one. Game options. Was it that one, or I hit down here? Oh, I hit the orange button. Okay, you hit the orange button, which is your fire button. Now it's going loading into the game. And I put an orange fire button on here because on the original Atari joysticks that I had as a kid, it was a black joystick with an orange button on the top. Or maybe it was on the side. I think it was orange. But anyway, so we're in here, and now you can go, if you hit game options, it'll give you player 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So, and then you hit your start button, and there you go. Sound's not working. Okay, I might not have it. The amp might not be turned on from when I moved the game. But anyways, you can see, so basically that's how that works. We'll just let myself die. Let the teeth get eaten. So that's how this is working, what it's running on. And the sound did work. So for some reason, I don't know why the sound's not working. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if it's a 4-player or not. But I don't know why the sound's not working. Because it was working when I first turned the cabinet on. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn these games off real quick and back on. Because I want to show you the introduction that he put on this game. And it only plays when you first power the game on. So I'm going to turn this row of games off real quick and then back on so you can see it. Alright, I'm going to let it load up here. It's an old Atari commercial.
My son Boris has a missile command problem.
My mission in life is to save all of mankind.
Lately, my daughter has developed a similar problem with Atari Warriors. Now with video pinball, my husband is acting funny lately. With Atari being so ingenious, so involving, so intense, I ask you, Atari Anonymous, is this problem contagious?
I just thought that was pretty cool that he put that on there. And then it'll come up on the screen here in a minute. I'll have to check on the sound on that. I don't know why the games aren't playing sound. I don't know if it was just a fluke or if I might need to go into settings and adjust something. Just from being unplugged and off and everything for a while. Yeah, I'll have to ask him. It doesn't have sound. Huh. I don't know why it's doing that. It's probably something real stupid. Just want to see here. Pretty sure it's not going to have power or sound. Yep, no sound. But I'm sure it's just something I just got to hook the keyboard up to and do something. But anyways, that's the end of that. Last one for today is going to be Fisherman's Bait. Now, this is an original game. Obviously not an original cabinet. I had another one of these slim cabinets I had made probably 10 years ago. And what I ended up doing was repurposing it. And I put like a bunch of Bass Boat metal flake in the paint. Let's see if you can see it here. Kind of hard to see unless you get a real good look at it, but you can sort of see it right there. But I kind of want to make a new cabinet for this. This is actually a really fun game, believe it or not. But I kind of want to make a cabinet that's kind of like a canoe boat, make it in the shape of a canoe and have some oars on the side of it and then put the game in the center of it. I think that'd be pretty cool to do. So I might do that at some point. But anyways, this is running all the original hardware except for it's running a flat screen monitor, which I'm fine with on this game. This is kind of like one of those golf games and stuff like that where I don't mind having a flat screen on it. It doesn't look bad. It's not like a hugely popular game or anything like that, so I don't mind not having a CRT in it. Everything's dusty down here. But anyways, it's running the original hardware, which I forget. It's the Konami little weird box, and it has a suicide battery in there, and it had gone bad, and I had sent it out, and I think Benson fixed it. I think they were the ones that fixed it, and then I got it back. It's running a switching power supply because you can pretty much run any kind of power supply on here. You can run a computer one, a switching one, and I just hooked up a switching one. It's a JAMA harness coming off of it, and it just has a few wires to hook up, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not much to it as far as hooking it up. Now, this has force feedback, so as the fish get bigger, it gets harder to pull, and it also vibrates when you play. So when it's kind of loud. But if anybody's ever played this, we'll just go to there. There's 4 different places you can fish at.
Hi, my name is Captain Harry.
Okay, after you catch at least 248 pounds of fish, you will move to the next level.
Here we go now.
So what you do is, you have a button right here on your reel, and that's how you cast your line out. So you kind of want to try to find a bigger fish. There's going to be some smaller ones and bigger ones. Now, if the fish touches your boat, you automatically have to reel that one in. You're kind of stuck with them. But see how small that fish is? Those ones are, you don't really want those. You want to try to find a bigger fish. Okay, now your red button here will cast your line out for you, for him to hook onto. Now he hooked on it. Now my reel is vibrating and it has tension on it. Okay, now it tells you right here, there's a thing right here for how much tension. So if you start really cranking this fast, you can break your line. And then if you're getting, like, let's say you're getting a lot of tension and the fish is really going away from you, if you release your line a little bit, it'll release your tension because you're letting the fish away from you. And then basically you just keep reeling them in. It gets really hard as the game gets farther along. Your arms will be burning. But you gotta follow your arrow here and it'll tell you to go right or left. We got them in here in a second. But this is clearly the easy part. I'm playing with a 26-pound fish. But there are like 2,000, 2,500 pound marlins, and literally it kills your arms. But that's pretty much how this game works. They made 2 different versions of this. They made Merlin Challenge, and then they made just regular Fisherman's Bait. The regular Fisherman's Bait has a different style reel. It's kind of a cheaper reel in my opinion. It kind of looks like a kid's fishing reel. It's like white. It's got a little crank right here. It's kind of a piece of junk in my opinion. I like this version better. But it's just one of them games that's just fun to play. It's just something different that you don't see a lot. Now the thing with this game is as you get into the big heavy fish, you start wanting to move this cabinet around. Hold on, let this end for a second. This cabinet wants to start moving around because it's not a very big cabinet. So I actually put an L bracket from the top of the cabinet into the wall, and now it doesn't move at all. And this marquee is an original marquee. It wasn't wide enough for the cabinet. Nobody makes these, so I just cut it down and used what I had. I believe I got this computer set up from TNT Amusement with the reel and everything else, and the wiring harness and the book for like 150 bucks. And then I think Benson charged me 50 bucks or $75 to fix it. But we're talking 8-10 years ago. I'm sure it's probably $200 now to get it fixed. But that's pretty much it. The cabinet I had, I repurposed it. Same thing with the Atari. The Atari, I really don't have much into it at all. I mean, just all home built stuff. Other than a Raspberry Pi, which was like 30-40 bucks at the time. A little bit of wiring and there's a little amp in there. There's maybe $100 in that, really. You know, joystick and buttons and stuff I had laying around from other games. Even the coin door I had from an this over-under coin door, that came from, I think, an old racing cabinet that I had. That thing's loud. So that was just laying around too, so I didn't have to buy any of that stuff either. So pretty much that's the next 5 games that were on here. Let me turn these games off real quick. Everything's on switches down here. Everything's on 20 amp breakers. So that completes these 5 games for this week, guys. Next week, we're going to talk about Carnival King, another one of my favorite games. Time Pilot, Operation Thunderbolt, Operation Wolf. I used to have Operation Wolf 3, got rid of it, didn't care for it. And then this one over here, which is Mortal Kombat 3. So those are going to be the next 5 games on the list. And then probably the following week, we're going to talk about these MCR games that are in the middle here. Maybe we'll just do, the following week, maybe we'll just do these 4 MCR games that are right here. Just because they're in the center, we can knock out all 4 rather than doing 5 that week. So, all right, guys. I got a lot of positive feedback on doing this, so hopefully everybody keeps watching. Give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share. Any questions or comments, feel free to ask. I think I pretty much covered everything on that. So basically, if you think about it, I don't have a lot of money in this row at all, you know, and they're awesome games in my opinion. Space Invaders, that game's always been hard to me. Galaga, one of my favorite games. I'm pretty good with that game. Zaxxon, another hard game. Fisherman's Bait, just a fun quirky style game. Atari, I mean, how can you go wrong with Atari? You know, has some of the classics I played as a kid. And like I said, we'll get into these ones next Sunday. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next Sunday. And I am going to be doing a video this week, putting this Jurassic Park together. So make sure you guys watch that video. We are going to get this working. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that Jurassic Park board works. I have no idea. It's been sitting on my shelf for 6 years plus. So fingers crossed it works. No clue yet. But the wiring harness, and that's been sitting forever. This computer power supply I've had, so we'll be able to use that. The guns I had that were sitting with the computer, I actually have another circuit board. Not a circuit board, I have another control panel overlay, but this one seems to be in pretty decent shape. Oh, I gotta put the buttons in here, which I have them on the floor down there. So, all right, guys, I appreciate it, and I will see you guys later.